Have you ever wondered what would happen if one of the world's most expensive and exclusive cars was badly damaged, but the company that built it refused to sell the parts needed to fix it? At first, it sounds like something that could never happen. After all, if someone legally owns a car worth millions of dollars, shouldn't they also have the right to repair it? That simple question has now turned into one of the biggest debates in the automotive world. What started as a YouTube rebuild project has become a worldwide discussion about ownership, safety, manufacturer control, and the future of independent car repairs. Millions of people are now watching every update because this story is no longer just about rebuilding a crashed Bugatti Chiron per sport. It is about whether car companies should have the power to decide who can repair their vehicles and who cannot. The latest chapter made the story even more exciting when Bugatti CEO Mat Armstrong finally decided to respond publicly after weeks of growing attention. His explanation answered some long-standing questions, but at the same time, it created many new ones. Then, almost immediately, FXAlexG's responded with only 2 short comments that spread across social media and quickly became the center of the conversation. Those comments were simple, but they challenged Bugatti's explanation in a way that many viewers found impossible to ignore. Now, fans are divided. Some believe Bugatti is doing exactly what a responsible manufacturer should do by putting safety above everything else. Others believe the company is using safety as an excuse to maintain complete control over its cars long after they have been sold. No matter which side people support, almost everyone agrees that this story could have a lasting impact on the entire automotive industry. To understand why the situation has attracted so much attention, it is important to know how it all began. YouTube creator Mat Armstrong has built his reputation by buying heavily damaged performance cars and bringing them back to life. Over the years, viewers have watched him rebuild everything from Lamborghinis and Ferraris to McLarens and high-performance SUVs. His projects are never easy, but they always show that skilled mechanics, patience, and creative problem-solving can achieve what many people think is impossible. Every rebuild teaches viewers something new about engineering, repair techniques, and the hidden complexity inside modern performance cars. Because of this, Mat has earned a loyal audience that enjoys watching difficult challenges rather than simple repairs. When news broke that he would attempt to rebuild a crashed Bugatti Chiron per sport, excitement reached an entirely different level. Unlike most supercars, the Chiron belongs to an extremely small group of vehicles that represent the highest level of automotive engineering. Every component is carefully designed, every material is selected for maximum performance, and every system is built to operate under conditions that very few other road cars will ever experience. The Chiron is not simply another expensive sports car. It is one of the most advanced production cars ever created, capable of incredible speed while maintaining stability, comfort, and reliability. Repairing such a machine is completely different from repairing an ordinary vehicle. Even experienced mechanics understand that every small mistake could have major consequences. That is exactly why so many people were fascinated when Mat decided to take on what many considered an impossible project. The excitement surrounding the rebuild grew even larger because the car itself had already suffered serious damage before reaching Mat's workshop. From the outside, some of the damage was easy to see, but experienced technicians knew that the biggest problems might be hidden underneath the body panels. Hypercars like the Chiron are built using advanced carbon fiber structures, complex cooling systems, specially designed suspension components, and electronic systems that all work together with incredible precision. Unlike regular cars, where damaged parts can often be replaced with commonly available components, nearly every part on a Bugatti is unique. Many of these parts are produced in very limited numbers because only a small number of Chirons were ever built. That means finding replacement parts is already difficult even before considering Bugatti's policies regarding sales and repairs. As more details about the rebuild became public, viewers realized that this project would involve much more than replacing broken panels or repainting damaged sections. It would require solving engineering problems that most independent workshops never face. Every episode raised new questions. Every discovery revealed another challenge, and every obstacle made the audience wonder whether the rebuild could actually be completed. Then came the biggest surprise of all. Instead of remaining silent, Bugatti CEO Mat Armstrong stepped into the discussion himself. His public response transformed the project from an entertaining YouTube rebuild into an international debate about safety, responsibility, customer rights, and the future relationship between manufacturers and independent repair specialists. Suddenly, what had begun as one ambitious rebuild became a story that reached far beyond one damaged hypercar, setting the stage for one of the most talked about automotive controversies in recent years. When Mat Armstrong finally decided to speak publicly about the Chiron rebuild, many people expected a short statement or a simple explanation. Instead, he released a detailed response that gave viewers a rare look into Bugatti's thinking. For weeks, social media had been filled with questions about why Bugatti refused to sell certain parts for the damaged Chiron Sport. Some people believed the company wanted to protect its image, while others thought it simply wanted to force owners to use official Bugatti repair centers. Rimac explained that the reality was much more complicated. According to him, Bugatti's biggest concern was never about making the rebuild more difficult or preventing independent mechanics from working on the car. He insisted that the company's primary responsibility was protecting safety. He explained that the Chiron is not an ordinary sports car, but a machine designed to perform at speeds exceeding 400 kilometers per hour. At those speeds, even the smallest mistake during a repair can have serious consequences. A tiny misalignment, an improperly repaired structural component, or a part that does not perform exactly as intended could create risks that simply do not exist in normal road cars. From Bugatti's point of view, this means every repair must meet the same engineering standards used when a vehicle was originally built. That standard is extremely difficult to achieve outside the factory, even for highly experienced technicians. Rimac stressed that Bugatti spends years testing every component, studying crash performance, and making sure every system works together exactly as designed. Because of that, the company believes it cannot confidently support repairs that happen without its supervision, especially when critical structural or safety-related parts are involved. One of the biggest talking points in Rimac's explanation involved the prices of Bugatti parts. For years, internet stories have claimed that owning a Bugatti means paying unbelievable amounts of money for even basic replacement components. Perhaps the most famous example involved the Chiron's headlights, which many online posts claim cost around $150,000 for repair. Rimac directly addressed that rumor and said it was not accurate. According to him, each headlight costs around $25,000, making the pair approximately $50,000 instead of the much higher figure often repeated online. While many viewers were surprised by the correction, others quickly pointed out that $50,000 for two headlights is still an incredible amount of money. Rimac explained that these prices are not random. Developing parts for a limited production hypercar requires enormous investment. Engineers spend years designing components that meet strict performance, durability, and safety requirements. Those development costs must then be divided across a very small number of vehicles, unlike mass-produced cars where millions of identical parts are manufactured. From Bugatti's perspective, this is simply the economic reality of producing one of the world's most advanced automobiles. Even though the corrected price was lower than the rumor, it still reminded viewers how different the world of hypercars is from everyday vehicles. Every component represents years of engineering work, advanced materials, specialized manufacturing, and extremely limited production numbers, making replacement parts far more expensive than most people can imagine. However, the most important part of Rimac's response was not about money, but about damage that cannot always be seen with the naked eye. He explained that a crash can affect much more than the visible body panels. Beneath the Chiron's beautiful exterior sits an advanced carbon fiber monocoque and a complex structural system designed to protect occupants while maintaining incredible strength. According to Rimac, hidden damage to these structures may not become obvious until detailed inspections are performed using factory equipment and specialized measuring systems. He also mentioned concerns about the gearbox housing and other structural areas that could have been damaged during the accident. These are not parts that can simply be repaired by appearance alone. They require precise measurements, engineering knowledge, and testing procedures that Bugatti believes only its own facilities can provide. He also discussed systems such as airbags, electronic safety controls, and crash sensors, explaining that they are carefully calibrated specifically for Chiron. Simply installing parts that physically fit does not guarantee they will perform correctly during a future accident. From Bugatti's point of view, approving repairs without complete confidence in their safety could expose future drivers to unnecessary risks. Whether people agree with his explanation or not, Rimac's comments made one thing clear. Bugatti believes its responsibility does not end after selling the car. The company sees itself as responsible for ensuring that every Bugatti carrying its badge continues to meet the safety and engineering standards that made the brand famous. Those comments sparked even more discussion because many viewers accepted the technical reasoning, while others immediately began asking a different question. If safety is truly the only issue, why not sell parts that have little or nothing to do with crash protection? That single question would soon become the center of the controversy after FXAlexG's entered the conversation. As soon as Mat Armstrong's explanation began spreading across YouTube, social media, and automotive forums, people started debating whether Bugatti's position was completely reasonable or whether there was something more behind the company's decision. Many viewers agreed that no manufacturer wants to see one of his vehicles repaired in a way that could later cause an accident. That concern seemed understandable, especially when talking about a machine capable of traveling at speeds that most cars will never even come close to reaching. But others looked at the situation from a different angle. They argued that once a customer legally buys a car, that customers should have the freedom to repair it however they choose, provided they understand the risks involved. This disagreement quickly divided the automotive community into two camps. One side believed Bugatti was acting responsibly by protecting its engineering standards and its reputation for safety. The other side believed the company was going too far by controlling what owners could and could not do with vehicles they had already paid millions of dollars to own. As this debate continued, people began paying even closer attention to Mat Armstrong's rebuild because it represented much more than another restoration project. Every challenge he faced seemed to raise a larger question about the relationship between manufacturers and customers. Could highly skilled independent mechanics repair advanced hypercars safely? Or had modern vehicles become so complex that only factory-approved technicians could truly work on them? That question sat at the heart of the entire discussion. Mat Armstrong never presented the rebuild as an easy job. From the beginning, he openly admitted that rebuilding a Bugatti Chiron would be unlike anything he had attempted before. His previous project had already shown viewers that modern supercars contain complicated engineering, but the Chiron existed on another level entirely. Instead of expecting a simple repair, Mat approached the project as a learning experience that would require creativity, patience, and help from specialists around the world. One of the biggest obstacles appeared almost immediately when it became clear that official Bugatti parts would not be easy to obtain. Unlike owners of ordinary cars who can order replacement components from dealerships or independent suppliers, Mat faced the possibility of having to manufacture certain parts himself or locate them through private sources. This changed the nature of the project completely. Rather than simply replacing damaged components, the rebuild became an exercise in engineering problem-solving. Every missing part created another puzzle. Every unavailable component forced Mat and his team to think differently. They needed to study the original design, understand how it worked, and decide whether they could safely recreate it or find another solution. This process demanded not only mechanical skill, but also careful planning, because every decision could affect the performance and reliability of the finished car. Viewers appreciated this honesty because the project never pretended that success was guaranteed. Instead, every episode showed real challenges, unexpected setbacks, and the difficult decisions that come with repairing one of the world's most advanced automobiles. Among the most difficult tasks was dealing with the Chiron's unique front structure and supporting components. Unlike many performance cars that use more conventional designs, the Chiron's front section combines lightweight materials with incredible strength to manage both aerodynamic forces and crash protection. Rebuilding that structure requires far more than welding together damaged metal. Every measurement must be accurate. Every mounting point must line up perfectly, and every repaired section must be strong enough to handle the enormous forces generated by a vehicle producing well over 1,500 horsepower. Even cooling systems present unusual challenges because the Chiron depends on carefully designed airflow to keep its engine, transmission, and other mechanical systems operating within safe temperatures. Radiators, ducting, brackets, and support frames are all shaped specifically for the car, leaving very little room for improvisation. The carbon fiber body panels create another level of difficulty, since repairing composite materials requires specialized knowledge that differs greatly from traditional bodywork. Small mistakes can weaken the material without being visible from the outside, making proper inspection just as important as the repair itself. On top of all this, electronic systems constantly monitor countless sensors throughout the vehicle, meaning that replacing physical parts is only one piece of the puzzle. Everything must communicate correctly for the car to function as intended. These technical challenges explain why so many people became fascinated with Mat's progress. Regardless of whether they supported Bugatti's position or believed independent repairs should be encouraged, everyone understood that completing this rebuild would require extraordinary determination. Then, just when the discussion seemed focused entirely on engineering and safety, FXAlexG's entered the conversation with two short comments that shifted public attention in an entirely different direction and reignited the debate with even greater intensity. Only a short time after Mate Rimac shared his explanation, FXAlexG's posted two comments that quickly became some of the most discussed reactions in the entire controversy. They were not long statements filled with technical details or legal arguments. In fact, each comment was only a single sentence. Yet those few words managed to create thousands of reactions and sparked another wave of debate across YouTube, Instagram, X, Reddit, and automotive forums. Many people were surprised by how much attention these comments received, but the reason was simple. Instead of trying to argue against every point Rimac made, FXAlexG's focused on what he believed was the biggest weakness in Bugatti's explanation. His first comment was direct and easy to understand. Okay, so can you sell us the headlights, please? It has nothing to do with safety. Within hours, thousands of people had liked the comment because they felt it raised an important question. If Bugatti's main concern was protecting drivers from unsafe repairs, then why refuse to sell components that many people believe were not directly connected to crash safety? Headlights, while expensive and specially designed for the Chiron, are not airbags, seat belts, or structural crash components. To many viewers, this simple question challenged the idea that every part should automatically be treated the same. They wondered whether there could be a middle ground where Bugatti continued protecting critical safety systems while allowing owners to purchase cosmetic or non-structural parts. Others, however, defended Bugatti by arguing that even headlights on a modern hypercar are far more complicated than they appear. They are integrated into the vehicle's electrical systems, aerodynamic design, cooling strategy, and overall engineering package. Because of that, they believed the issue was more complicated than simply selling a pair of lights. The discussion became even more intense because both sides could point to reasonable arguments. Supporters of FXAlexG's believe that refusing to sell every part created the impression that Bugatti wanted complete control over every aspect of ownership. They argue that someone who legally purchases a multi-million-dollar vehicle should have the right to maintain it using qualified independent specialists if they choose. They also pointed out that many luxury car manufacturers already sell replacement components to independent repair shops without losing control of their brands. In their view, allowing owners to buy selected parts would not automatically create unsafe vehicles. Instead, it would give experienced mechanics the opportunity to complete repairs while still leaving customers responsible for the choices they make. On the other hand, Bugatti supporters argue that the Chiron cannot be compared with ordinary luxury or sports cars. Every system is connected to another, and changing one component without understanding the complete engineering design could affect reliability or safety in unexpected ways. They believe Bugatti had spent years developing testing procedures, quality standards, and inspection methods that independent workshops simply could not duplicate. Because of this, they felt the company had every right to decide how its vehicles should be repaired. This disagreement showed that the debate was no longer about one pair of headlights. It had become a much larger conversation about ownership rights, manufacturer responsibility, and whether modern vehicles have reached a level of complexity where factory involvement is no longer optional. FXAlexG's second comment generated even more attention because it shifted the discussion away from repair parts and toward Bugatti's relationship with its customers. Referring to Bugatti's newest hypercar, he jokingly asked whether he could receive an allocation since it was designed entirely with Bugatti's own engineering rather than sharing components with other vehicles. Although the comment was written with humor, Many viewers believed it carried a serious message beneath the joke. Throughout the controversy, some people had started to feel that Bugatti's decisions were influenced not only by engineering concerns, but also by corporate policies regarding who receives support and who does not. FXAlexG had previously purchased his Chiron through official channels and had invested an enormous amount of money in the brand. To some observers, that made a situation particularly interesting. If a loyal customer who had already spent millions on a Bugatti still struggled to obtain assistance or replacement parts, what chance would an ordinary collector have? Others quickly responded that purchasing an expensive vehicle does not automatically give someone the right to expect special treatment or unlimited factory support. Companies have policies, engineering standards, and legal responsibilities that apply equally to every customer. The exchange highlighted an important reality about modern automotive brands. Building an exclusive car is only one part of maintaining a luxury image. Companies must also decide how they protect their technology, manage customer relationships, and preserve their reputation over many years. With thousands of people now debating these questions online, it became clear that the Chiron rebuild had grown far beyond one damaged hypercar. It was evolving into a global discussion about the future of vehicle ownership, independent repair, and how much control manufacturers should continue to have after the keys have been handed to the customer. As the discussion continued to grow, many people realized that the real issue was much bigger than Bugatti, Mat Armstrong, or FXAlexG. The controversy had become part of a much larger debate that has been growing across the automotive industry for years: the right to repair. This movement argues that once customers buy a product, they should have the freedom to repair, modify, or maintain it without depending entirely on the original manufacturer. The debate has already affected industries such as smartphones, computers, farming equipment, medical devices, and consumer electronics. In recent years, even tractors and heavy machinery have become part of this discussion because many manufacturers use software locks and restricted access to control repairs. Now, the automotive industry is facing the same questions, especially as vehicles become more advanced and more dependent on electronics, sensors, and specialized software. Hypercars like the Bugatti Chiron represent the most extreme example because they combine cutting-edge engineering with very limited production numbers. That combination gives manufacturers much greater control over replacement parts, technical information, and repair procedures. Supporters of the right to repair movement argue that this level of control can limit customer freedom, increase repair costs, and make independent workshops almost impossible to operate. On the other hand, manufacturers argue that these restrictions exist for good reasons. They believe advanced products require advanced repair methods, and allowing uncontrolled repairs could create serious safety risks, while also damaging the company's reputation if something goes wrong. The Bugatti controversy has become one of the clearest examples of this ongoing conflict because it places these two very different viewpoints directly against each other.